saying, oh.
Hello and welcome to Sydney Fairfield Farm in Sydney, the west of the city. We are at the second ever Olympic mountain bike race. You're now looking at Barbara Blatter, the first ranked woman in the world, the 2000 World Cup winner. My, what a season she has had. All of the favourites here, Alison Seidel here, the defending champion, Paola Pezzo, the original Olympic mountain bike champion. You're looking at Chrissy Redden there in your picture, Alla Epifanova, Alison Dunlap, the third-ranked woman. She missed out on the finals of the World Cup to concentrate on preparing for this very, very important race here in Sydney. And my word, what an important race it is. A very small field here. Only 30 riders, the elite, the creme de la creme of women's mountain biking on this Fairfield City Farm course in Sydney. The riders doing one start loop and 5 laps. The laps are about 7 kilometres, just under 7 kilometres long. The start loop, 1.2 kilometres. Conditions perfect for mountain bike racing. And as I said, 30 elite riders here, the top 15 ranked riders in the world, 18 of the 20 World Cup, the top 20 in the World Cup this year. And this first start loop, 1.2 kilometres long, as I said. It goes around the footy field, as it's known. A short start loop and then off onto the main loop, 5 laps. This course has been used once before, last year in 1999 in the second round of the World Cup. As we look at the bunch of riders staying close together, as you would expect here at Fairfield City Farm. Staying close together and being led out by none other than the silver medalist from 1996 in Atlanta, Alison Seidel. Pezzo, the winner in Atlanta, the first ever women's mountain bike champion. Alison Seidel was second in 1996. Susan de Mattei, now retired, the American rider, she was third. Only 2 of the top 10 here in Sydney compared to Atlanta. A lot of those riders have retired. Rather surprisingly, Gunn-Rita Dahle, the fabulous Norwegian rider, she isn't here today. No explanation about that, really. She hasn't appeared. She only appeared on for the first 2 races of the World Cup this season. It hasn't appeared now, but the woman who really has blitzed the mountain biking scene in the year 2000, Barbara Blatter, leading out this 30-strong field with Alison Seidel, the number 2 rider, right behind her, with the Paola Pezzo, the defending Olympic champion, the gold medal winner from Atlanta. She is on Barbara Blatter's wheel. In fact, she's just moving up to the outside of Blatter. Blatter, winner of 3 World Cup races this season. She really did come on strong in the middle part of the season. Had a good season in 1999. She was 10th overall in the World Cup, but clearly stepped up her game for the year 2000 and eventually has wound out the winner of the World Cup. Really was some fabulous riding from Barbara Blatter. She edged out Alison Dunlap, the American rider. Dunlap, as I said, rather surprisingly missing out on the finals of the World Cup. Missing out indeed on the chance of actually winning the World Cup to prepare for these races. And after the start loop, it looks like Paola Pezzo leading out. And I think that is the number 7 rider. It is Margherita Fullana, the 2-time world champion, with Alison Seidel on her wheel. Barbara Blatter in 4th spot, Alison Dunlap in 5th spot. And already the field completely strung out there. As you'd expect, the lower ranked riders, I would assume, are at the back of that field. Can't live with the pace so early on in this race. And let's start again. 1 start loop, 5 laps of this course, a total distance of just under 36 kilometres, 35.7 kilometres, just about 22.2 miles. Pezzo looking behind her, knowing who to look for. She'd be watching Margherita Fullana. She'd be watching Alison Seidel, the 3-time World Cup winner, 3-time world champion, the silver medalist from 1996. They'll also be watching out for Alison Dunlap. Favourites, obviously, for this title: Paola Pezzo, Fullana, Blatter. I would have thought Mary Grigson, the top-ranked Australian rider, she will be up there, 5th in the World Cup this year. Grigson could have been even higher if it wasn't for the fact that she had missed the last couple of rounds of the World Cup just to prepare for the race here at Fairfield City Farm. In the west of the city here in Sydney. Sydney's got about a population of about 4 million people. We're about an hour's drive from the main airport in the city. Not that that will concern these riders now. They'll be keen to get to the front here because this is the start of the first climb, the 1 kilometre climb up to the old gum tree. In fact, up to the rainforest, actually. 4 climbs really on this course. They're coming the first part of the course. The second part of the course is very fast with a climb up to Gary Payne. That's the most significant part of the significant climb of the second half of the course. But as I said, 4 major climbs really, from the old gum tree up to the rainforest. All of these points on the course got great names. Then we've got a climb from the Star Drop up to the Cauldron. There's a great technical descent down from the Cauldron. Then we have a 3rd climb from Rock Hit up to God's Gate, a 4th climb from Wild Olive Tunnel up to Hordens Flat, and then the long, fast section up to Gary Payne from the Dusty Chute down to about the Cockatoo Flats, and then up to the Twins. And then from the Twins up to Gary Payne, that is the last climb on the last major climb on the course. Pezzo just behind Blatter. Seidel in 3rd spot. Alison Dunlap there, so keen to do well here. Mary Grigson, number 13. Ranked 13th in the world. She's a lot better than that, though. Missing out on those World Cup races has affected her ranking, as it has Paola Pezzo, the defending champion. That's why she wears the number 17 plate. Alison Seidel having problems there with her chain. Look at that. Major problems there. One of the hot favourites for this title is losing out, and that will be bad for Alison Seidel, the Canadian rider. That is a shame for her. She got silver in 1996, and Pezzo looking behind. We've already got a gap on Alison Dunlap, with Margarita Fullana in 5th spot at the moment. I can't see who that she's riding with at the moment. Another rider in blue, so difficult to distinguish. We're so used to seeing these riders in their team kits, and Pezzo having a bit of a problem on that rocky part there, and Blatter moving out to the front with Dunlap in 3rd spot, Margarita Fullana in 4th spot, and I think that is Alary Pifanova in 5th. Barbara Blatter, the Scott rider, former kindergarten teacher, has looked so good this season. The only race she really didn't turn it on for was the European Championships in Reinen in Holland. She only came 9th there. Fullana, go through your picture. Alary Pifanova, who spent a lot of time in America this year contesting the Norba Series. There's Alison Seidel, recovered from that blip with her chain. No sign of the 2 British riders at the moment, Caroline Alexander and Louise Robinson. Caroline has clearly done what Paola Pezzo has done this season. Clearly, in fact, like a lot of these riders, has prioritised this Olympic mountain bike race. In fact, Caroline Alexander, the top British rider, only doing 4 of the 8 World Cup races, as we see these riders coming down the descent now. Fullana, Pifanova, and Seidel having a problem with her chain there. This course, as I said, it's about an hour's drive from the Sydney's main airport. That's Kingsford Smiths Airport. This course suits the rider that is strong and powerful. A rider actually much like Paola Pezzo. In fact, although I would have to say that Pezzo is a very, very good climber as well, and she is not letting Barbara Blatter get too much of headway at the moment. Pezzo going through in 2nd spot, with Alison Dunlap in 3rd, Margarita Fullana in 4th spot, Alary Pifanova in 5th, and Alison Seidel in 6th. She's hoping not to let these riders get ahead of her. So difficult. Oh, and a problem there for Pezzo. looks like she's having a few problems technically. It's not like her, actually, because she's a very, very good technical rider. Sidor being held up by her Volvo Cannondale teammate, Alla Epifanova, the young Russian rider, one of the youngest riders in the race today, only 23 years old. In fact, the youngest rider is the Irish rider, Tara, I believe you pronounce her name, Tara Owen. She's 23 years old and 4 months. The oldest rider, Leslie Tomlinson, the Canadian, 40 years and 9 months old, and she's still qualified for the Olympic mountain bike race. That is brilliant. Conditions really are perfect for these riders. We see Blatter going through, got about a 10-metre lead on Pezzo. She herself has got about a 10-metre lead over what was Alison Dunlap, but Fiona passes her. Sidor now passing Alla Epifanova. Keen not to let the riders ahead get too far in front, because once these riders get away, it's so difficult to claw back. This Fairfield City course designed by Glenn Jacobs, the notorious, the infamous dual designer. This is the descent of the cauldron. The riders now dropping down from the top of the course. One of the highest parts of this course. There's a lot of short, sharp power climbs. Difficult descent here. Can't take it too fast. Thankfully, the weather good. If it was slippery, it'd be much more difficult, that descent. As I said, the Olympic mountain bike race, the second ever mountain bike race. We're looking at Barbara Blatter, the Scot rider, who is leading this race at the moment. We're coming to the end of the second lap. She has got a lead over Margarita Fullana, the Spanish two-time world champion, with Paola Pezzo in fourth spot at the moment, with sandwiched between those two, Margarita Fullana and Pezzo, is Alla Epifanova, the young Russian rider. But Barbara Blatter looking so hot at the moment. She really has come on song this season. Her first ever World Cup win came in St. Wendel in Germany. She had a marvellous race there. Only finished 8 seconds in front of Alison Dunlap, but she really did take that race by the horns. Like most of these women, small and slim. Only came 5th in the final race of the World Cup at Lausanne in Switzerland, but that conditions very, very different from what they are here in Sydney. Absolutely perfect. Conditions in Lausanne were atrocious. A lot of rain there. You can see the difference between her and her main chaser. 23 seconds over Margarita Fullana, the two-time world champion, the woman who won the World Championships this year, the early World Championships this year that were held in Spain, her home country of Spain, in Sierra Nevada in Spain, actually. Fullana won for the second time. They were held in May this year. Usually World Championships held about this time in September. Fullana winning the World Championships last year in Sweden, in Åre in Sweden, but Blatter looking very fast indeed. Has only really been around since about 1997. What a transformation. 24th at the World Championships. She didn't ride at the Olympic mountain bike race in 1996. She won her National Point Series in 1997, and that was the first sign that we had a rider on our hands who could challenge the best. 1998, she came 22nd in the World Cup, 14th at the World Championships in Mont-Saint-Anne in Canada. And then last year in 1999, she moved up into the top 10 of the World Cup with a 10th overall and a 5th place at the World Championships. Had her best result at Houffalize in the final round. She came 3rd there. That was a sign that this woman was going to challenge for overall honours in the year 2000, and my word, what did she do? She came out with all guns firing. It took her a couple of races to actually get on song. 7th at Napa Valley in the first round, 6th at Mazatlan in the second, 9th at Houffalize in the third, and then bang, 1st at St. Wendel in the 4th, 2nd at Sarantino in the 5th, 1st at Mont-Saint-Anne in the 6th, 1st in Canmore in Canada in the 7th round. 3 World Cup wins. She knew she didn't have to win. She didn't even really have to compete in the last round in Lausanne, because her main challenger, Alison Dunlap, for the World Cup title, didn't even bother turning up. She was second overall. She could have won overall, as we see Barbara Blatter coming across the line now with 3 more laps to go. She's happy about that. There's a long way to go now. Barbara, I wouldn't start celebrating that if I was you. I don't know whether that was a sign to her pit crew. But Fullana coming through in second spot with Alary Pifanova in third. The young Russian rider, good riding from her. Ranked 6th in the world. 8th in the World Cup. And that looks like Paola Pezzo, the defending champion, the number 17 rider in the UCI rankings. Well, actually, I would have to say she actually isn't even number 17 in the rankings. She's 21st in the rankings, as we see Alison Dunlap coming through behind her after 2 laps. And Alison Seidel clearly suffering here. Look at that. There's a grimace on her face. And Seidel still has 3 more laps to go. I have been saying that Pezzo has been ranked 17th in overall, but she's actually ranked 21st. In the UCI rankings. She's 17th of the riders here in Fairfield City Farm. Fullana with Epifanova, the young Russian rider, blitzed onto the scene. There you have confirmation after 2 laps. The top 5, Blatter, Fullana, Epifanova, Pezzo and Dunlap, with Mary Grigson coming through now, the Australian who so wants to do well here. She was second in the World Cup race here in 1999, behind the winner, Alison Seidel, the Canadian rider. I would have thought Grigson would have been a little bit higher, but the thing you have to say with Mary Grigson is that she is a very slow starter. She always tends to go better in the second part of the course. She actually has just won the American National Points Series. And because of the fact that she's an Australian, the title actually goes to the second-ranked rider, Ruthie Mathis. We're taking a short break. Join me, Mark Beisiger, after that. Come back to the Olympic mountain bike race. We are with the leader, Barbara Blatter, the Swiss rider, the winner of the 2000 World Cup. It might have been a surprise in 1999 if she'd have competed for that World Cup, but not this year in the year 2000. Blatter really is on song now. The 29-year-old Swiss rider, the Scott Pro, 3-time World Cup winner, and she is being caught now by the 2-time world champion Margherita Fullana, skidding round the corner there, determined to catch Barbara Blatter. After 2 laps of the race, Margherita Fullana, the ex-road race professional, really is letting it all hang out now. The Subaru Specialized rider, who has only competed in 4 World Cup races this season, and won 3 of those. A 3-time winner like Barbara Blatter, the Swiss rider. The Spaniard really is hammering now to get onto the tail of Barbara Blatter, the Swiss rider, and she is going to do that. My word! What power emanating from that tiny, slim frame. And just locking out the suspension, both riders locking out there. Just fiddling with their rock shock suspension. Margherita Fullana in second now, on the tails, the coattails of Barbara Blatter, and it looks like she is going past her. Indeed she is, going straight up onto the rear wheel and going past her. But in the distance you can see Paola Pezzo with, I think, Alary Pifanova behind her. Pezzo going straight past the young Russian rider. Paola Pezzo, who has said that after this race she will retire. Can she retire with the gold medal? She's gone past the young Russian rider who has been in second spot for so long. Third spot, should I say, for so long. Now relegated to 4th, and it looks like it's hurting. She doesn't look as fluid as the defending champion, Paola Pezzo. My word, can we have a repeat for Pezzo, with Alison Seidel in the background as well, and I think that is Alison Dunlap, the American, just behind her. It is indeed Dunlap, who so wanted to do well here. I mean, she's not going to do that well if she doesn't get onto the coattails of at least Paola Pezzo, and indeed Seidel as well. Seidel, the 34-year-old, three-time world champion, three-time World Cup winner, silver medalist at the 1996 Olympic Games. On a course actually fairly similar in the respect that it was a short power type of course there. No long climbs, short, sharp power climbs, fluid, lots of passing places, and we are looking at Mary Grigson, the Australian who was second here in 1999 on a practice run for the Olympics. That race won by Alison Seidel with Gunrita Dahler, the woman absent here today. Dahler could have done so well here. She was third in that practice in that second round of the World Cup in 1999. What would she have done here? Such a shame. As I was saying earlier on in the programme, as we see the leader Margherita Fullana going away from Barbara Blatter. My word. As I was saying earlier in the programme, it is such a surprise not to have Gunrita Dahler. She was 10th at the first World Cup this year in Napa at Domaine Chandon, and then has really just disappeared off of the scene. It was rumoured that she'd injured a thigh muscle in an altitude chamber, but we really haven't seen hide nor hair of the fantastic Norwegian rider. But no worrying about her now, though. Margherita Fullana, the two-time world champion, who really has, like Blatter, come on song in the past few years. Margherita, who was third at the World Championships back in 1997 in Châteaudet in Switzerland. She would have actually come second that day, apart from the fact that her chain broke within sight of the finish, and she actually had to push for the last 5 minutes of that race, and she was overtaken by Nadia De Negri, the Italian rider. But there you have Barbara Blatter in second place now, the leader for the first 2 laps. That foreshortens the distance between her and Fullana, but it must be a distance of about, I should think, about 50 to 100 metres. But Paola Pezzo, look at that determined face on her. Just pushing down on her thigh and blowing there. That's a hard part of the course there, but Pezzo so good in so many different circumstances, with Alla Epifanova in 4th spot. Epifanova, the one Russian rider riding here. There's 3 American riders. There's a repeat, a slow motion of Fullana coming up onto the coattails of Barbara Blatter and just going boof, straight past. Excellent riding from Fullana. That is straight out of a road racing handbook. My word, superb riding from her. So now we are on the 4th lap with Margherita Fullana, ranked 7th in the world. Don't really take any notice of that, because Fullana, as I was saying earlier, only competed in 4 races of the World Cup, and that's so important to get your ranking from there. The world champion, the 3-time winner of World Cup races this season. She won 3 as well in 1999. And Barbara Blatter being caught now by Paola Pezzo, the Gary Fisher Pro, the Italian, the defending champion, the 3-time European champion, the 1-time World Cup champion from 1997, is catching the Swiss woman. Pezzo has really done so much to move mountain biking, especially in Italy, onto another plane. In fact, out into the big wide world of national sports. She really is a heroine in Italy, along with the likes of people like Alberta Tomba. And the difference between Blatter and Fullana in 1st spot, 23 seconds. The Spaniard wants to add the Olympic crown to her 2 World Championship crowns. But she's going to have to beat, I am sure, Barbara Blatter and indeed Paola Pezzo, the defending champion. Indeed, the defending champion and also 2-time world champion. She blitzed onto the scene. Pezzo did in 1993 at Métabier in France, in conditions that were atrocious. Pezzo winning the World Championships that day ahead of the the road racer and time trialist Jenny Longo, who competed in such an amazing helmet and socks that went up to her knees. She looked like a rider who'd just started her mountain biking career, and Jenny Longo came second, and for so long she was actually leading that World Championship race in 1993. But on the last climb and descent, Paola Pezzo caught her and blitzed past her. And that was the foretaste of things to come for Pezzo, the Italian rider, who is now 31 years old and is on the wheels, the back wheel of Barbara Blatter. Pezzo, who has only ridden in 4 races of the World Cup this season, but like in 1996, clearly prioritising the Olympic race, not really going hell for leather for any sort of World Cup win. In fact, it's the first year she hasn't won a race since a World Cup race since 1996. 1 race win in 1999, 1 race win in 1998, 8 World Cup wins on her way to the title in 1997 in the World Cup. 8 out of 10 wins then. The women and the men's cross-country races used to do 10 rounds of World Cup racing up until 1998. And then from then on, it's only been 8 rounds. Clearly better for these races because it's so hard to peak for 10 World Cup races, let alone 8. Or should I say, I turn that around. It's so hard to peak for 8 races rather than 10. But it looks like Pezzo clearly determined to catch this woman, the Spaniard, the Subaru Specialized Pro, Margarita Fullana. Final placing of 4th in this year's World Cup by dint of 4 World Cup wins and a 3rd at St Vendel when Barbara Blatter took her first World Cup win. And there you have a good sign of the distance between the riders. Paola Pezzo now overtaking Barbara Blatter, the Swiss rider. She's coming on strong in the last part of this race, and Margarita Fullana has to watch out. This is where Pezzo is at her best. Margarita Fullana now going down the descent from the cauldron, one of the highest parts of the course, at roughly about 130 meters. This 6.8 kilometer course, 5 laps for the women, 1 start loop of 1.2 kilometer. And it looks like Paola Pezzo has got the bit between her teeth. She wants a 2nd title. She wants to retire with a 2nd gold medal from the Olympic Games. And Barbara Blatter, I don't think, will be able or is responding to the Italian rider. My goodness me, how she can peak like she does. My word, such good judgment. She peaked in 1996. She won the European Championships and the Olympics. She didn't care about the World Cup then. She got gold in Atlanta, just over a minute in front of Alison Sider in 2nd and Susan de Mattei in 3rd. She decided after that year that she wanted to win the World Cup. So in 1997, what did she do? She went out and won 8 out of 10 races. And what did she do in the other 2 races? Came 2nd. She won the World Championships that year as well. She didn't bother with the European Championships in 1997. 1998 was a bit of a down year for her. 3rd in the World Cup. Didn't start the Europeans. Didn't finish the World Championships. Came back onto some form in 1999. Did Pezzo, 11th in the World Cup, 3rd at the World Championships. Didn't bother too much with the World Cup this year. 3rd at the Worlds again. In fact, the same order of the World Championships this year as indeed in 1999. Fullana 1st, Sider 2nd, Pezzo 3rd. But now Pezzo is chasing that woman, the woman in your picture. And I'm sure she will be getting time checks from her helpers on the side of the course. Margarita Fullana should be worried because the defending champion is riding up to her rear wheel, I am sure. A marvellously paced race from the Italian rider. So good to see. You would think that she's a loud extrovert off of the bike because she looks so good and is so loud when she is on the bike. But believe me, she's a very, very shy person. She can speak a few words of English. She was a former skier, cross-country skier. In fact, she turned to mountain biking principally because she was left out of the Olympics for cross-country skiing, and it looks like the Italian woman who came into mountain biking purely as a way of training for cross-country skiing is now catching the Spaniard, and she really is motoring. It's so visible, the difference between her and Barbara Blatter. Look at the leg speed of these two women. Barbara Blatter cannot respond. The #1 ranked woman in the world, the winner of the 2000 World Cup, is nowhere near Paola Pezzo. My goodness me, this is exciting. We are taking a short break. Join me after that. The end of the 4th lap here on the Olympic mountain bike race at Fairfield City Farm. Paola Pezzo, the defending champion, has caught Margherita Fullana. That is no surprise, really, considering the speed she was going up at that last climb we saw her on. Goodness me, the Italian knows how to peak. This is something that Fullana clearly... Oh, look at this, going past her there. Excellent manoeuvre from Paola Pezzo. Fullana really was surprised then, I am sure. She didn't expect that move from the Italian. What a great manoeuvre, perfectly legitimate. Fullana moved over, not really knowing that Pezzo was making that passing manoeuvre. What a great manoeuvre, look at this. Superb handling from the Italian. Great stuff, oh wait. And the bigger Italian staying more on her bike than the Spaniard. The slight petite Spaniard clearly didn't have an answer for the stronger Italian racer, and Paola Pezzo is now in the lead. Oh wow, this is so good. Different livery for a bike. She's on a fully suspended bike now. Has been riding it on and off. She suffers from back pain, Paola Pezzo, so it clearly helps her get over that sort of pain. Surprising really that most of these riders not riding dual suspended bikes, but Pezzo decided to elect to ride that Gary Fisher. I think that is the Sugar model actually. Hasn't got that much movement at the rear end, but just enough to soften out the bumps, and clearly that manoeuvre that she made on Margherita Fullana at the end of the 4th lap has upset the Spaniard because she is nowhere in sight. This really is a surprise. Pezzo has overtaken her and has moved out by at least 20 seconds. Well, it looks like about 20 seconds. Let's see when we come across the line here. 1:27.46. Average speed of 19.68 kilometers. Oh, it's a lead of about 10 seconds. Just over 10 seconds. With Barbara Blatter coming back now. Blatter 16 seconds down, just about 3 or 4 seconds down on the Spaniard. And it looks like Blatter, who went out so early and looked so strong early on in this race, had a bit of a dip in the middle part, is now coming back on song. As for the Brits at the moment, Caroline Alexander currently lying just outside the top 10 in roughly about 11th or 12th place, with Louise Robinson a few places back in 15th or 16th spot. As we see Epifanova going through in 4th. She looks tired for so long, and yet she's still in 4th spot. I know that Alison Seidel, the silver medalist from Atlanta, is in 5th at the moment, with Mary Grigson, the woman who really usually does come on song towards the end of a race. She is in 6th spot. That's surprising. I would have thought Mary would have come on a lot faster and would have caught at least the 4th place rider, Ala Epifanova, who has looked tired. As we see Fullana going through the pits now. There's confirmation of the standings after 4 laps. Pezzo first, 12 seconds down Fullana, 15 Barbara Blatter, with Epifanova almost 50 seconds down in 4th spot. Well, this really is such a well-timed race from the defending champion. Now moving on to the climb of the old gum tree up to the rainforest, up to the top of this climb. They then have a descent down from Teardrop, down to Star Drop, which is the start of the climb up to the cauldron. They then have that technical descent down from the cauldron as we see Paola Pezzo, the defending champion, clearly determined now. Look at her leg speed, look at that determination. Her shoulders are rocking, but she looks very, very steady indeed. She doesn't look tired. I think her shoulders are actually rocking because she is putting so much effort into this. She looks so, so strong. Clearly, visibly bigger than the other two riders behind her, Margherita Fullana and Barbara Blatter. Fullana particularly very, very slim as one of the back markers, number 25. That is Tara Owens, the Irish rider, being overtaken there by Barbara Blatter, who I think is in second spot now. She's overtaken Margherita Fullana.
30 seconds up front, keep it out.
That crash clearly upsetting the Spaniard, upsetting her concentration, but not this woman. Paola Pezzo, so determined. I don't really think that there is a better focused athlete in either men's or women's cross-country racing than this woman, Paola Pezzo. She really does know how to peak for a race. She knows how to train. She knows when to give it her all, when to hold back. As we look at Alari Pefanova, for so long looked tired, but it looks like she's actually got a bit of strength back. Can she bridge the gap? That big gap to Barbara Blatter and Fullana in second and third spot? I don't believe she can do it. But a great ride nonetheless from Alari Pefanova in fourth at the moment. And Blatter and Fullana clearly swapping positions now. This will be where the fight is. Excuse me, I'm getting so excited, I'm losing my voice now. The fight will be for second and third, I am sure, because Paola Pezzo looks, barring accidents or punctures, like she has got that bit between her teeth. It looks like she may be coming on to defend successfully her title here in Sydney. With Barbara Blatter in second spot at the moment, Margherita Fullana in third. We're coming into the last part of the course now. The Swiss rider leading out the Spaniard, with the Italian in first spot at the moment. Alison Seidor, the silver medalist from 1996, is in fifth spot, I know that. Alari Pefanova in fourth. Mary Grigson in sixth at the moment, but don't believe me on that as we see Paola Pezzo coming through into the finish area now. It looks like the woman who won the first ever mountain bike race in 1996, the women's cross country in Atlanta, is going to defend her title successfully here in Sydney. What a ride from the Italian. Paola Pezzo takes her second gold medal in the Olympics. That really is astonishing. An absolutely brilliant ride, riding her pink Gary Fisher bike. Timed her run so well. She stayed in the top three as we see Barbara Blatter coming through for second spot. That's good to see. The World Cup champion comes across the line for the silver medal, with the world champion, the two-time world champion, coming across the line in third spot for the bronze medal. Blatter edging out Margherita Fullana by about 7 or 8 seconds, with the Italian rider Paola Pezzo just under 30 seconds in front of Barbara Blatter. Her lead was never bigger than a minute. In fact, it rarely got up to over 45 seconds, but Pezzo rode such a controlled race. She moved into the front ahead of Margherita Fullana with that fabulous passing manoeuvre. Oh, wow, what a way to retire. If she is going to retire, she's going to retire as the Olympic mountain bike champion, as we see the Russian rider, the 23-year-old Russian rider, Alari Pefanova, coming across the line in fourth spot. That's good. She's ridden for so long in the top four, never been out of the top four, as Paola Pezzo takes a welcome drink here at Fairfield City Farm in Sydney. I don't think she can believe it. This shy woman off of the bike, an extrovert on the bike, usually wears a gold outfit. She didn't want to upset her luck here by wearing a gold outfit in Sydney. And we see Alison Seidor, the silver medalist from 1996, coming across the line in fifth spot here in Sydney, with Mary Grigson, the Australian rider, who I would have expected to have competed more in the top three, coming across the line in sixth spot. Well, in fact, she's a long way from the line at the moment, but it looks like she has got a 6th spot sewn up here. She looks very, very lean, doesn't she? 5th place rider in the World Cup. 6th overall, with Alison Dunlap coming across the line in 7th. Grigson's already been across. Dunlap in 7th spot. That's a shame for her. She would have expected more from that. 3rd ranked in the world, I'm sure. Well, of course, she would have wanted a gold medal. It's silly saying it, really, isn't it? What a surprise. But all of these women so focused. The winner, Paola Pezzo, in a time of 1:49.24. The 2-time Olympic mountain bike champion. Marvellous riding from her as we see Chantal Decour coming across the line with Caroline Alexander, the first British rider, the first of the 2 British riders coming across the line here, and it looks like Decour is actually, well, coming across the line. They're actually a long way, they're away from the line at the moment, but Decour and Alexander in 11th and 12th spot at the moment. My word. Well, the winner here in Fairfield City Farm, Paola Pezzo, the Italian woman who won the first ever women's mountain bike race in Atlanta in 1996. The 2nd place rider, Barbara Blatter, the Swiss rider, the World Cup winner from the year 2000. Margherita Fullana, the 2-time world champion from 1999 and indeed 2000. She got the bronze medal here in Fairfield City Farm in Sydney. Ala Epifanova in 4th. Sidor, the silver medalist, 5th spot with Mary Grigson, the Australian, in 6th. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage here on Eurosport with me, Mark Bicycle. Join me for the men's tomorrow morning.